Premier, you made a pledge while still in opposition to support the African Think Tank Leadership Program. You won the elections and you provided the funding for the leadership program. Tonight you've just handed the certificate to the first round of the program. What's your feeling about it?
We were delighted to make the commitment. I'm even more delighted to be able to be here and hand out I think 27 certificates to these graduates from the Think Tank program. This is a really important program. It's an opportunity for people to not only come together but to grow together and to hopefully learn so that they can teach others, they can lead and they can demonstrate that it is possible in this state to do just about anything you need and want to do.
What are your expectations with regards to this program, the things you like to see, the impact of this program throughout the greater African community?
Well, I'm very keen for, obviously, everybody in the African community to do whatever they can to learn and to get a job. Not only that, once they've learned, once they've got a job, to employ somebody else and to actually reach out and grow this community and grow it with pride and also with a lot of fun.
How do you think, how critical is leadership for new and emerging communities in general and African communities in particular?
There's no doubt that we're the multicultural capital of Australia, and I think Victorians understand the experience of migrant communities here. We've always had welcoming arms, and those welcoming arms, certainly the experience would suggest, are just what you need in order for a community to settle, to grow, to embrace the new opportunities and to generate jobs, not only for themselves but for others, and I'm sure that's what's happening.
What's your understanding of some of the challenges that African communities in particular
well, there's undoubtedly a challenge for African communities, and the many African communities who are here come from different backgrounds, so they bring their own challenges. But there's the usual experience of a challenge of a new country, new cultures to embrace, but coming from different backgrounds themselves, to come together and embrace those new challenges together, those new cultures, that's obviously hard, and that's where effort has to be put in, and that's where leaders in the African community need to stand up, demonstrate to others that it can be done. It's not too hard, you can actually enjoy it on the way.
With regards to some of the challenges that happen in the community, lately there's been a publication of crime statistic relating to African community that raised a lot of concerns within Africans. What can you tell leaders?
I think we understand that, but it's also important to have information available to the African community and make sure that the African community is able to respond. And I know Victoria Police are looking closely at this and seeking to work with African communities to address any challenges that they perceive and indeed that are perceived in the other direction.
Do you agree with some calls within the community for some broader discussion on how African communities are being policed?
Well, I think it's important that the communities work with police and vice versa, and I know Ken Lay as Chief Commissioner is keen to do that, and from a leadership point of view from Victoria Police, they're keen to work with African community leaders to assist where there are any challenges, and that's the importance again of this program. Teaching people how to lead and teaching people how to make the most of opportunities is very much a part of building that relationship, and as we build that relationship, then I'm confident that the problems will be addressed just as they have been addressed with other migrant communities who've come here.
And one last question, Premier. Some of the community leaders I've been speaking with recently raised the issue about the impact of some of the TAFE cuts in the communities, because many of the youth groups have that's the only option for job and career perspective. What can you tell them about that?
Well, very simple. We're actually putting $1 billion into TAFE over and above what Labor committed to over 4 years. We're into vocational education and training. So we're putting $1 billion extra into vocational training over 4 years, over and above what Labor put in. But what we saw in just 18 months was that vocational education blew out. There was a $400 million plus blowout in subsidies. And not only that, it wasn't training where jobs are needed. So what we're trying to do is align training to industry needs, align training to job opportunities. And I think everybody in the African community would say, well, if we're going to do training, we want to be able to use that to get a job when we're finished. That's what we want to see. And that's why when it comes to TAFE education in particular, we've increased the subsidies for a vast array of courses which TAFE predominantly undertake as opposed to other providers.
And your last message to the broader African community out there as well as the wider Australian community?
Well, this is Multicultural Melbourne, Multicultural Victoria. We have welcoming arms for all communities, particularly the African community, obviously. We recognise the challenges. We want to work with the African community, and we want to see the rhythm and life and the smiles of the African community